All right, guys, happy Friday. We didn't put up our backdrop today because we're going to be using the whiteboard. So that's really exciting. I wanted to be able to screen share with you guys, but unfortunately, we would have to get some crazy software on my tablet, and it was just going to be a mess. So no backdrop today. We're not in our Alpha coffee shop, but Mark is upstairs making coffee. So we will have coffee in a few minutes. Let's see. Where is everybody? I see, let's see. Amber's here. Megan's here. Nicole's here. Diana's here. Jessica's here. Um, Katie's here. All right, guys. So we have a really kind of brain-boggling topic today because we are going to be talking about the human brain. This is my favorite part of marketing. And what I always tell people is that I've learned a lot more reading psychology books and actual books about the human brain itself as opposed to reading traditional business books. And like I said in my email that I sent you guys today, most of the time business books are kind of written by rich guys who want to get a little bit richer by selling all of their secrets packed between two covers of a book. So marketing books, unless they're more strategic, what I've noticed is marketing books don't really do a whole lot because everybody's approach is going to be different. And if you guys ever read a marketing book and you could tell that marketing book was meant for somebody who like ran a huge company with 100 employees, and you just think to yourself, this was not for me. That's how I feel a lot of the times when I go through these books. But when it comes to neuroscience, what we can really do is just predict the patterns in normal human behavior and kind of apply those abstractly to marketing, which there aren't a whole lot of books that do on their own. Sometimes you have to read these books and then kind of recognize the patterns that your own customers and audience already display, and then apply the things that you're learning about psychology to more practical things like marketing, like creating ads, like the way that you talk to people through your customer communication. So today what we're going to be doing is talking about a few strategies that are proven to work if you do them correctly. This is one of those things where you could write all of these down, which I recommend you do, and you could try all of them and have them not work because they weren't applied right. So this will work. This is proven to work. You might have to play with a little bit though and make sure that your method is actually converting into whatever, desired action you want from the audience, whether that be signing up for an email list, whether that be buying a product, joining a Facebook group, or leaving a feedback, like a comment or something about a new collection that you're working on, whatever the desired outcome is. That's what we want to try to coax people on how to do. Let's see. Good morning, Alpha's new hair color. No, actually, I'm using, for those of you who are going crazy without your stylists, get some pigmented shampoo. Mine is called Punky Color, but Overtone is also great, and you can kind of touch up your dye. Let's see. How are you? I am good. Good morning, Alphas. Hello, hello. I am here. Awesome. Another week gone by already. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're sitting in the coffee cup. Looks like my 10-week, 10-ounce Chihuahua when he was a new puppy. I have a Chihuahua somewhere. I don't know where she is. There he is. Oh, this episode is sponsored by Liquid Death. Not really. So for those of you who are wondering why Mark and I are sitting here chugging 2 large beers, they're not beers.
Oh, we're already demonetized. It doesn't matter.
It's canned water. Tasty canned water.
We'll go get the coffee here in just a minute.
Awesome. Okay, so
I'm not even on camera.
sorry. We will have to make room for the whiteboard in a few minutes. Okay, so I do have notes today, guys. I try to use as little notes as possible because for some reason that upsets people. Don't know why. But I need to make sure that I don't leave anything out when it comes to these more advanced topics, because one little missing piece of the puzzle messes up everything. So if you guys need to get notebooks, now is the time to do so. While you guys are grabbing those, I do have a few shout outs to give. Down in the description below this video, you'll find a couple links. One of those links is to our 7-day survival guide, which it's not consecutive because I'm still kind of building out those emails. And you might end up getting more than 7 days worth. But basically, if you sign up for that, I'm giving you guys some more practical action steps and things that you can do while we go through our quarantine that I think most of us are on right now, if not, required by your country or state, then by choice, because things are getting crazy right now. But the purpose of this email list isn't to spook you. It's about giving you guys news from Etsy. It's about sharing some of the things that I'm doing with my daughter to, make sure that she is occupied while I'm working. We do some different ways to find out if there's going to be shipping restrictions in your area. We debunked some myths about the virus in terms of how long it's going to survive on your packages. So you guys can sign up for that, get an email every day. That's down below, and you won't be double subscribed to my normal email list by opting in. Second link is to my summer survival guide, which you can start applying now as opposed to summer. Normally what happens during the summer is sales tend to slow down because weather is warmer and people are outside. But now sales have already started to slow down early in the spring because people aren't spending money right now. So what you can do is download that guide and just start applying it now, because obviously sales are slow for everybody right now, and that is the norm. But Etsy's been doing some great outreach. They've got some great commercials out right now. I shared one on my page a couple days ago. But they've got some really cool stuff going on. So, all right, ready to take notes. Got my man Mike watching today. What's up, my man Mike? Let's see. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon. All right. So, neuromarketing is...
easier if I just step out of the way. If you're...
Yeah, just scoot over just a little bit. Neuromarketing is kind of an abstract topic. It is very... How do I put this? There's not a lot of research that's been done into it, or there has been a lot of research done into it, but we aren't really teaching those strategies actively in most colleges. Therefore, the information is very sparse, and you don't find a lot of videos online about it. You can find some books on it, but what I've noticed is I've read at least 10 neuromarketing based books, and most of them have the same exact information over and over, because those authors are writing with the expectation that the person who's reading has no idea like anything about neuromarketing. So that's kind of where I am right now. There are some great YouTube videos. Usually the best videos to watch are about actual neuromarketing experiments that are being done, as opposed to people explaining them. And I've noticed that most of the videos about people explaining neuromarketing they aren't very entertaining to watch. We'll just put it that way. So, neuromarketing in a nutshell, this is dictionary textbook definition, and then I'll give you a more practical definition. Neuromarketing is the science of human decision through neurometrics, biometrics, and psychometrics. So, what does that even mean? There are ways that we study neuromarketing. The ways that the scientists study neuromarketing, though, are not things that we could ever do with our own customers unless you had a whole lot of money to invest. But basically, really smart guys with a lot of money invest a lot of that into facial coding and expressions, so they can actually scan faces to be able to tell, oh, thank you. We need Friday bean mugs. That's a Handmade Alpha Friday Q&A mug. But they scan facial expressions to be able to see those subtle changes in someone's expression and how that impacts the end game, which is the sale or the desired action from the person. Eye tracking software. You can find some pretty cool studies on eye tracking software, openly available, but basically it's where the eyes land on a page. And when you're marketing and when you're creating ads, there's a very specific pattern that you want the eyes to go in. And you want to make sure that if there's text on those images, people are actually reading it, and there are different little strategies to do it. So voice analysis and tonality, just analyzing how somebody's responding. Skin and measuring your heat and your heart rate, and being all hooked up to, what are the little lie detector things called?
I have no idea. Probes.
The little things. You can scoot in more. You have plenty of room. Let's see. And then EEG measures the electrical activity in the brain. MRI, and that obviously measures the amount of oxygen in the brain. So those are all things that we're probably already familiar with. And then this is where things kind of like get more down to earth. Applied neuromarketing is analyzing how that stimulus results in the response that you're looking for. We want to just basically look at different, I call them triggers, different triggers, and see how those triggers actually convert into the response that we want. Like I said, whether that be making a sale, joining an email list, um, commenting, taking a poll, whatever that may be, watching the Friday Bean, meowing like Bubbers. Bring him up here. He wants to hang out. I'm going to take a drink of this coffee and hope that it's not too hot. Okay, so this all starts with, and I can scoot this way so you can stay there. This all starts with the brain. The brain. I'm going to try to draw the brain. I'm really bad at drawing the brain, but I'm going to do my best. See, I have a really good picture of the brain on my notebook that I drew, but I'll do a more simple version here. So we're going to start in the middle of the brain, which is the most important part of the brain, okay? Let's see. We'll do some neurons. So this is the most important part right here. And I wish I had different colored markers. Do I have some more of these in there? Top drawer? See if I've got some more. I think I only have Sharpies in there, and that wouldn't be good.
No. Sharpies and highlighters.
Okay. So this is the part of the brain that we want to focus on. In fact, you know what? I will just kind of, I'll color it in a little bit.
As you go.
Because I need to draw the rest of the brain so they even know what they're looking at. Okay, and then we're going to go into our center brain, and then we will branch off of this, and then we have our, this is the worst brain ever. And then we have our full brain here. Does that look like a brain, guys? That looks nothing like a brain. All right, so this is the part that we're going to mainly be focusing on, and you guys may have heard about this. In simple terms, we're going to just call this the reptilian brain. Did I spell that right? Reptilian?
I don't know.
I think I did.
I'm tired
right.
today if you haven't figured it out.
So the reptilian brain is our instinctual brain. This is the part of our brain that developed first. Think of it like when you look at a tree that's cut open and you're looking at the rings on the tree. The center of the tree is the oldest part of the tree. This part was the very first bit of brain that we had. This is instinctual, and it drives a majority of our decision making. And then we have our, we'll just say the middle brain here. Right there. And this is the part that developed second. So we've got this part developed first, this part developed second. And this is our emotional brain. This is why emotions are so much stronger than, I would say, things that are, you know, like logic. Emotions usually drive a lot of our decision making when logic, you know, actually should. So we have instinctual, kind of nonsensical. I just drew on my hand. And then we have the second part of the brain, our middle part, which is our emotional. I'll go ahead and I'll write these. We've got instinct right here, and we have emotion down here. Okay. And then the last part of the brain that is our newer part, the part that has developed a bit more recently, we'll just say the new brain. We'll say the new brain. And that is this big squishy part on the outside, the brainy part that you guys can probably already recognize. And this is our logical part of our brain. It is our, what's the word I was looking for? It is our rational brain, and rationality evolved last. This is what sets us apart from most animals. It is what sets us apart from most monkeys. This is the part of the brain that we developed last. Therefore, it is the part of the brain that doesn't work as strongly as the parts that we've had forever, because let me have exact like time frames here. Let's see. All right, so our reptilian brain, this was developed 500 million years ago, and I'm sure that this is going to spark,
Yeah, we're not gonna have that debate.
just no debates there. We're going by science here today. 500 million years old. This part of the brain is our oldest part of the brain. It is the root of all that we are, right? This part of the brain up here is only 3 to 4 million years old, which seems like a long time, but at the same time, this part of the brain developed at a very weird part of our development as a human species. So when this part of the brain was developing, we have to think about the type of environments that we were living in 3 to 4 million years ago. We were, we were still hunting, we were still fighting, we were still, living in tribes and packs, and all of these things that made up who we are back then, our brains are still designed to appeal to those basic needs. It's why sugar is so appealing to us, because if we were in nature and we found something sweet like honey or berries,
Yeah, I can live longer.
right, I can live longer. This is a lot of calories. I can eat this. I can eat all of this and be good for a few days if I can't find food. But now that's, kind of been our downfall, is now we have an abundance of sugar and we want to eat it, when this was meant to be something that would sustain us for a long period of time. That's an area where our reptilian or our instinctual brain takes over and says, we need to, eat all of this sugar, when in reality, you don't actually need to eat all of that sugar. So the reptilian brain is very, very quick. We make instinctual decisions very fast, which is why this is the most important part of marketing. We want to make sure that we're appealing to instincts in the core of the brain. Whereas the rational brain is a lot slower at making decisions, but it's smarter at it because we spend more time analyzing, right? We rationalize those decisions. So this is the part of the brain that makes us second guess things and think too much. This is the part of the brain that we almost want to bypass when we're marketing, because we want people to make a quick decision to make their purchase. And I know that this sounds really shady and it's like, oh, make a purchase before they even think about it. This is what marketing is. Whether you like it or not, unfortunately, this is what marketing is. So it's one of those things where you don't have to do it, you don't have to subscribe to it, but every other marketer does it, and you can either learn how to do it right, or you can feel icky about it and stay behind the pack. But this is in an essence what marketing is trying to root our message into the core of the human brain. So the reptilian brain, it only lives in the present. It doesn't analyze the future, and it doesn't think too much about the past. But the rational brain thinks about the past, the present, and the future. It thinks about how decisions are going to impact it, or how past decisions have impacted it. The reptilian brain never turns off. It is on all the time, no matter what. It is always running. However, the rational brain can be turned on and off when we go to sleep. It is not on, it is off. But the reptilian brain is always on. So this part of the brain is effortless. There's no effort required for a reptilian brain. In fact, we can think there's some species of animals that have a very, I don't want to say that their existence isn't meaningful, but they live a very, very not exciting existence, and they don't require rationality to exist. They can exist on the primal instincts.
Koalas,
exactly. Koalas are,
brained.
yes, they are adorable, cute, but they are one of the most, they're one of the lesser intelligent creatures on this planet. Sweet little things,
One of
adorable.
The least, yeah.
But they are one of the least intelligent creatures ever. But this part of the brain is unconscious. This part of the brain is conscious, and this part of the brain is uncontrollable. We cannot control our instincts, unfortunately. However, we can, with the new brain, build an understanding for those instincts and be aware of them. We just can't always fight them. So a great book to read if you're more interested about the irrational side of our brain and how to kind of be more aware of it is Predictably Irrational by Dan Ariely. It's the very first psychology book that I ever read, and it got me kind of into psychology. So that's a great recommendation. But now I'm sure that you guys want to know, how can you actually apply this to marketing? So can you grab my spray in that top? Oh, there's no tissues in here. I might need one of our rags. that spray right there, and maybe just a dirty one, a dirty rag. In the meantime, let's see our comments. Let's see. Hi, how are you? Good morning. Oh, we don't have a lot of comments. Are you guys just taking it in? Is that how this is? Starla, I need to hire you to draw my dogs for me. Yeah, right. Let's see.
What are you laughing at, Amber?
A primitive life. You've offended every koala watching this video. That's hilarious. All right. Yeah, we're focused. Good. I'm going to assume that you're all taking notes since there's 102 of you. Boop, 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 boop. This is like my setting spray. Do you guys use setting spray on your face? I always do it, and then I'm like, right afterwards. All right. So let's talk about, now that you know the whys, let's talk about the hows, because what most people do is they explain all the hows and tell you what to do with marketing, but they don't explain the whys. Those are the whys. So now you have your whys. Let's talk about the hows. Reptilian brains are easy to fool. They are very simple. Optical illusions are what fool our reptilian brain when we look at things that we know aren't like a picture that we know is not moving, but we, see it moving. Those are all elements of the reptilian brain kind of coming into play, even though that we're rational enough to know that the image isn't moving. That is our reptilian brain kind of taking over. So we're going to be talking about 6 stimuli. 6, can you guys read this? You lie. Of the reptilian brain. You guys can write.
They should be able to read it as long as their monitors aren't small.
Okay, 6 stimuli of the human or the reptilian brain. Not actual reptiles, the human reptilian brain, if you're just joining us. This is definitely not one that you're going to want to join in right in the middle. So, number one, we have, and these are things that you guys can do for your own marketing. So if you're not writing things down, this is the thing that you want to write down. First, we have,
Stop.
is he about to fall?
No, he was about to press my power button. I don't care if he lays on top of the computer because it's putting out hot air and he loves it, but...
All right. So self-centered. We are self-centered. Our universe revolves around us, and all of the decisions that we make are for our own benefit. Even when we say that it is for the benefit of others, a lot of the times the nice things that we do for others are in the benefit of ourselves in some way. Or even, you could donate to a charity and do it and not tell anybody about it and keep it all to yourself, but you're still doing it for the warm, fuzzy feeling that you get inside. It is completely central focused, and that's not a bad thing. We have to. It's what we do to survive. We have to worry about ourselves and our own families, and we keep our families around for our own interest. Hey, I enjoy having my own little child running around, but that is once again something that is for you. So everything is linked to our own self-centered interests. The way that we can appeal to marketing, I really like point of view, like photos where you do like lifestyle photos of your products. Those are known to be some of the most effective because it kind of puts your audience into the place of the scene that you've created for them. And you'll see this with a lot of really great marketing. Starbucks does a good job of it. They kind of give you the feeling of the ambience of their coffee shop. I hate calling Starbucks a coffee shop, but they kind of make you feel like you're there. You can find these in a lot of Instagram style photos. And then another one, an easier one, if you're not very good at photos, is when you are talking in your ad copy using words like you and your, always focusing on the you and your and very, very little I's. You don't want to talk about yourself or you want to talk about yourself as little as possible. Focus on them and their perception of, the messaging that you're trying to get across. So self-centered, we want to appeal to them 100%. Let me go ahead and take a drink. You want to check those comments for me? You're being awfully quiet, so it might.
Yeah, I'm exhausted. I didn't get a lot of sleep. Nothing specific. One person asking for the book names. People were commenting it, so we're good.
Yeah.
No questions.
Yes, and it's Ariely, Ariely, Dan Ariely. You can also follow him on Facebook. He posts funny stuff. I really enjoy his content. All right, number 2 is contrast. We do not know how to measure things unless we have something to measure beside it. We have no idea. We just don't know. We don't have a frame of reference to measure something unless we have something comparative to look at. So for marketing, here's some examples that you guys might be aware of. Contrast, showing them how their life could be better with the item that you're selling. We see this in weight loss ads. There's a before and an after photo, right? We have a contrast there. We have something to compare to. Same with like acne medications. There's always the before and the after. Hair growth before and after. So this obviously doesn't apply to all products, a before and after photo, but you can still tie in that messaging. For example, the website that we accidentally tried to recommend 2 weeks ago, and Mark sent someone to a porn site for our bidet.
How long are you going to mention that?
It's hilarious. That was a amazing moment in alpha history. But our bidet, Tushy, please don't go to tushy.com because that was not the name of the website. Their actual Facebook marketing ads right now it's like a trash can, and then you see like the empty toilet paper rolls like being piled up into the trash can, and then it shows the bidet and how the bidet is going to save you money. So you have something to contrast, right? You're saying to yourself, oh, I could be spending all this money and buying all this toilet paper, or then the toilet paper tubes disappear. I could be using a bidet and not, spending money on toilet paper, or not, using all of our toilet paper when it's pretty much disappearing. So contrast, finding a way to compare what their life would be like before and after they obtain your product. See. Okay. Made my day, Mark. I'm assuming that you meant sending them to a porn website. Yeah. That was a very embarrassing moment. All right. So number 3, I might end up running out of room.
Nah, they can see. Well, I guess they can't see the whole board because we've got the splash on the bottom there.
Oh, that's all right. Tangible and visually understandable. We want to make things visually understandable. So this is in our marketing, not so much in our product. So one example of this that we've all seen is if you wanted to create an ad about setting something apart. Have you guys ever seen like the photos of like, it's like a big field of flowers, these are like, you like them? I bet Amber likes these flowers. And then like, in this big field of flowers, there's like one like red one, you know what I mean? Where you see the
say like one blue one since it's a
yeah, but red's like a pop color. You know what I mean? You see, there's all of these items, and then there's one item that's standing out. It is tangibly different. It is visually contrasting to what they're seeing, right? It is visually understandable, the message that you're trying to make. For example, you might see a bleach commercial. This is a good one that I saw not too long ago. It was a bleach commercial where there were a bunch of white shirts, and they looked like white shirts, right? Like you could see them, they looked white, but then they showed the shirt that had been used, with the bleach, and that shirt was just radiant white. So what you thought you were seeing white shirts until you saw the one that had been, washed with the bleach, and then you realized, oh, the one with the bleach is very white. It's much more white. So you're actually, kind of showing them the contrast, but you're also showing something that's visually tangible that they can see quickly and understand with just a glance. You don't even have to have any words. I could have seen that commercial in a different language and I still would have understood what the ad was for, right? So that is what I mean by visually understandable. You don't need a lot of context to get what the overwhelming message is. So, all right, let's go ahead and, oh, I didn't use my spray.
Samantha said, I sometimes take a photo of my keyring in the palm of my hand to give the buyer a rough idea of the size. Sizes and item details as well.
Absolutely, yes. I recommend putting your products, especially in your listings, putting them next to anything that will make them more realistic in size, whether that be your hand, it could be a coin, it could be just, a pencil, something that everybody knows the size of. So and the hand is fine. Just keep in mind that hands are all different sizes as well. So, all right. So number 4, and this one is, oh, I love this one. Beginning and end. Okay, beginning and end. So this one is a little bit interesting. The reptilian brain is awake and alert and conscious at the beginning of an interaction and at the end of an interaction. So when it comes to visual ads, like we'll say commercials, the reptilian brain is the most alert. Like we'll say that this is a commercial, okay? We're just going to say this is the span of a commercial. The reptilian brain, the most important part of the brain, is active here, and it is active here. And then our logical brain, our more recently evolved brain that's going to analyze things, is more active right here, okay? So with that knowledge, knowing that we need to appeal most to the reptilian brain, which is active here, and less active here, that tells us that when we're creating commercial-based ads or video ads, that the main messages from those ads need to be at the beginning and at the end. In the middle is story. It's story building to give the more rational brain kind of something to chew on and analyze, because that's what it does. It chews on things and it analyzes it. But what our reptilian brain does is it wants to know the beginning, it wants to get its initial information, and then it wants to close with, what our ending information is. That's why you usually see when there's a commercial that is kind of story based, we see like the problem at the beginning, whatever the problem might be, and then by the very, very end, we have a solution, and that's all the brain needs to know, right? We end it on that happy note, but the middle part is always story or some type of filler to give our brain something to chew on. So that is the premise of the beginning and end, and this is really important for video ads. There's really not a whole lot of way to do this for a photo, but you can do it when you're typing out a story. Maybe say you have like a photo for your marketing, but then you include a little story in your caption that shows with the photo. Maybe type out a story there and really try to engage the brain at the beginning of the story and at the end. Have you ever read a book in the beginning of the story, like it puts you in the middle, and then it starts off like it'll say, oh, I was just shot, but that was 3 weeks ago, and here's what happened before then. You know what I mean? Like it gets you engaged right at the beginning, because that's when you're going to pay the most attention. So, beginning and end.
So put
Questions?
really important photos first and last?
Uh,
I don't know if that necessarily applies to photo content. That's more of a video or
it's
contextual based kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, your most important photo should absolutely be at the beginning of anything. If you're listing a bunch, I would say that you want people to see those first.
Because the shopping side of it and the marketing side of it, like they go together, but they're not necessarily the same thing.
Yeah.
Like think of it from the buyer's perspective. If they're already looking at the item, then they're past the marketing point, right? So they're just looking at the product to inspect it.
Right. We're not saying that it won't work. We're just saying that we don't
really know.
Yeah, we don't really know. Try it. Sure. I mean, try it out. See what you can.
I honestly think keeping all your important photos first would probably be your best bet.
Oh, absolutely. Because you want them to stay engaged. And the more photos that they click through, the more likely they are to stop clicking through.
Right. And if you have a product that has a lot of bits and pieces, especially parts that you want people to know, make sure that those are highlighted in the first few pictures. Because I know from the first few pictures whether or not I'm going to buy
right
the product.
Looking, I would say like within the first 3 if they have 10 photos, the first 3 I've decided that I'm going to buy. Mm-hmm. The rest are just kind of validating my decision. And you know what that is? It's the reptilian brain has solidified its decision, and then you're using your rational brain to kind of rationalize your purchase.
Yeah, don't make the customer dig.
Exactly. So, all right. So number 5. I'm trying to make sure I'm not getting marker on my new hoodie.
Right.
Did I? I totally think I did. Oh.
Whatever.
Visual. So, there. Now I won't draw all over myself again. So, here's where things get a little bit technical. The optic nerves plug directly into the reptilian brain. So, when we're thinking about like our eyeballs, and then we'll do like our little optic nerves, right? Is that
It's like a little floating eyeball.
It looks like Gary from SpongeBob. There we go. Okay. So our optic nerves are actually rooted like right to our reptilian brain. It is Gary.
Yeah, put a little mouth right here.
Okay. So our optic nerves are linked directly to our reptilian brain, so it processes that information a lot faster because it's almost instantaneous. Actually, it's not. If you watch the way that monkeys respond, it's significantly faster for monkeys. We've actually sacrificed a lot of that. I've got a great video for that if you're interested. But basically, we see something and we're able to quickly make a decision because that is linked to instinct, right? We needed to make decisions quickly when we were living out in the wilderness, because if we heard a noise, we had to decide whether or not that was an enemy or that was food. We had to make a quick decision, and then we had to act on it almost immediately. Otherwise, we would miss an opportunity or potentially get, eaten by a bear. So that is why, that is why we have, the ability to make those decisions very, very quickly, and why, those impulsive decisions aren't always the best. So this part of the brain right here where we're looking at visuals is 50% faster than our auditory nerve, which means that things hit our brain after we see them a lot faster than after we hear them. That's why I'm writing things on a whiteboard. That's why I give you guys a lot of visuals. We process information that we see significantly faster than information that we hear. Have you guys ever watched video ads? Maybe you're sitting in the bathroom on the toilet and you never unmute your phone, but you still will sit and watch a whole video ad, right? And you still get the premise and you still are marketed to efficiently. I do that all the time. I never turn on my sound on my phone when I watch video ads. Do you? Or do you usually watch them silently?
It depends, but most of the time I don't.
Right. And most of them are subtitled for that reason. So we need to make sure that we are appealing visually more so than auditory and more so than reading text, right? We want to make sure that information is gotten across with the image first and then the text second. So good way to do this is with visual metaphors for the content that we're trying to create. Is there an E at the end of metaphors? I don't think so. So here's an example of this, okay? There was an airport where men were going into the bathroom and peeing in the urinals and getting pee everywhere. That's at all men's bathrooms, right?
There's just pee everywhere, right? In every men's bathroom,
right? They couldn't get people to stop peeing everywhere. They did everything that they could. They could not get people to stop peeing everywhere.
That's actually like the number one factor that makes a bathroom nice when you go out. Like, it doesn't even have to be a nice looking bathroom. It's like, is there pee everywhere or isn't there?
Right.
If there isn't, it's a nice bathroom.
So here's their solution, right? They've got all these urinals. Is this a urinal? Does this work as a urinal?
Have you ever seen a urinal?
That's like a drain. Yeah, and then there's like this thing like up here with the little plunger that you can't quite reach with your foot, so that's nasty because you have to touch it. And then it's like this, and then you pee in there, right? Is that right? Did I do it?
Yeah, good enough.
Is that pretty accurate?
Good enough.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so what do you guys think? Scale of 1 to 10, rate my urinal. So what the airport did was they got these little stickers of flies and they put them close to the drain, and it fixed the problem. All they did was put a sticker of a fly for the guys to aim at, and they got rid of the problem of the pee all over the bathroom. bathroom. So it gave them something visual to aim for. It gave them a target without outwardly saying, here's a target, and it eliminated the problem of pee on the floor. So if you have like teenagers or something, maybe get yourself a little sticker to put in your toilet, because apparently it worked wonders for this particular airport. But that is a little example of how just a visual trick of the mind actually got people to do a desired action completely subconsciously. They just walk in the bathroom and they're like, haha, look at that. They didn't realize that they were solving a huge problem for the cleanup crew at this airport. And I'm sure that they weren't intentionally trying to pee everywhere either. It was just businessmen in a hurry running. Okay, gotta hurry up, get to the bathroom.
You don't know men very well.
Oh, well, men are gross.
In an airport? Are you kidding me? That's like the number one place where people are just going to go in there and be like, hey, screw everything but the toilet. I'm going to pee everywhere else.
I was trying to give credit to your people.
Don't. We like to pee on stuff. I don't, and particularly. I prefer the urinal, less on yourself. But some people like the trash can or the sink or whatever else. That's just how it is.
Like if you agree. Like this video if you agree. Is that a good way to go?
And then stop doing it because I'm sick of seeing it. It's gross.
Okay, let's move on to our last one.
Yes, do that, please.
Last one is emotional.
Emotional.
It was a terrible emotional, the emotional brain. And let's think of some emotional ads. How about Sarah McLachlan with Wings of an Angel and all the sad little puppies? I think that's only a U.S. ad, but basically it's a Humane Society ad where there are the saddest, shaking, trembling puppies in puppy mills and abused puppies and kittens and sad music playing, and you just want to scream every time it comes on because it's so sad. But the desired action is to make a donation, right?
Yeah.
There are drunk driving ads. You see the people holding the paper that says, this is the last text that I sent to my sister before she got in a car accident and died. And then the text was like, hey, are you at the grocery or something? Like it hits you in the heart, and it makes you realize, oh crap, this is awful. This is terrible. I need to do something. But it, results in desired action. And emotional, it doesn't have to be necessarily sad, but there are two emotions that drive most of our action, and that is outrage, which you don't want to do that. You don't want to outrage people.
No, not in this market. No.
Right. But you see how negative news shares, especially now. Notice how negative news shares a lot more like wildfire than positive news.
That's all I see. I don't ever see positive news.
Right. I just saw one about like a 92-year-old woman who recovered from coronavirus, and the caption is, why aren't we sharing news like this? But that is human nature, to share the bad news. It's what we do. Outrage gets shared more because it lights an emotional fire in us. Anger, outrage, and things like that. And, we're less likely to share happy messages, unfortunately. But what you can do is, if you have a way to create a story that does create maybe just a little bit of sadness, but then gives hope at the end, that's another great way to do it. I saw a great ad for Guinness for St. Patrick's Day, where it said, what is St. Patrick's Day? You go to a parade, and we can do that next year. You hang out with friends and family, that phone call will do. Don't worry about it. What is more important is, being happy and having family to love, and, crack open a Guinness and celebrate St. Patrick's Day. They said something like, we have a 9,000-year lease on our company or on our building, so we're not going anywhere. Happy St. Patrick's Day. And I thought it was great. I thought that was a great emotional, very realistic ad that was published at the perfect time, during a time, when you don't want to market with coronavirus, but they marketed an underlying problem, which was that people aren't able to go out on St. Patrick's Day. But what they can do is stop at the gas station, get themselves a 6-pack of this desired product, bring it home, and drink that product all alone, which probably, when I say it like that, it sounds very sad, but you know what I mean? They found a way to still market, even though.
Tis the world for a while.
Exactly. So a product that is completely based around going out, going out drinking, especially on this holiday that it's all about, instead being able to convert that to home is it's a very interesting thing. So those are our six stimuli: self-centered, contrast, tangible, beginning and end, visual, and emotional. So there are four little steps that you can apply these six stimuli. I'm going to go over them very quickly. Hopefully you guys wrote this down, but if not, there is going to be.
They can just pause.
Yeah,
Go back and pause.
There's going to be a replay. Can you check comments? Maybe even just read some that aren't questions.
None. There's not really anything specific that we haven't talked about. Kim Paley said that if you live in France, a lot of the toilets are unisex, and women usually have to walk past the urinals to get back to the actual stalls.
Ooh. Men's bathrooms have a stink to them because of
women's bathrooms have a stink to them.
It's those urinal cakes. I hate the way that those urinal cakes smell. They're just so funky. All right, so now we're going to be going from 6 stimuli to 4 steps. And there were steps included in the 6 stimuli, but we're going to condense these down even more. So from 6 stimuli to 4 steps, and I'll go through these quickly. So if you guys have questions, go ahead and get those in now, and we'll cover them after I go over these 4 steps. So step 1 is to diagnose. I'm thinking ahead. Diagnose a pain. So diagnosing a pain that the customer has. What is making them tick at the reptilian level? Think about the reptilian brain, all of the instinctual problems that we just talked about, problems that are rooted in the core of our existence, frustrations, things like that. How do we appeal to any of the things that we talked about previously, where we talked about emotions, we talked about self-centered, contrast, making things tangible, beginning and end? How do we appeal to those through our marketing? And then what pains and fears do they have lingering around in their subconscious? So for emotional, like the car accident ads, maybe they are afraid that so that will happen to them or someone that they love, right? Maybe it's grandma sitting in her recliner and she sees the ad and she's thinking about little Jimmy who's out on a Friday night, and it stresses her out really bad, right? So then she texts little Jimmy and says, hey, if you need a ride tonight, text me. And that is kind of exactly what the ad is intended to do, right? So diagnose the pain of your customers and try to think about how you can appeal to that more primal side of their brain. Number 2, this is kind of diving more into the marketing. How do you spell differentiate? Differentiate. Am I right?
No.
Differentiate. Yeah, it is. That's what I wrote on the paper the first time.
The C should be a T. The C should be a T. Differentiate.
Sure. You guys let us know if we're wrong. Differentiate your claims. How is what you're saying different than what anybody else saying selling a similar product? So basically, how are you going to stand out in your industry? What makes your claim different than anybody else's? And this is a very personal thing. It's not something that I can tell you. I can't tell you how you're different. But what you can do is ask other people who are exposed to your brand. Maybe we can do this as an exercise since we don't have a whole lot of questions here. Pain, can it be a problem they have? Yes, absolutely. It's absolutely a problem that they have.
And Beth asked if we could use all 6 or choose from the list. You want to try to appeal to as many as possible.
Yeah, you can. Don't overdo it. Don't try to make them don't send them on an emotional roller coaster but you can apply different ones. But just make sure that it makes sense, basically.
Don't overthink. This stuff is all super complicated, but the last thing that you want to do is overthink this stuff.
All right, because you're appealing to a very primal part of the brain.
Right.
It should be simple.
It'll you can understand what we're telling you, but if it takes some time to really let the information sink in, do it with the best understanding you have of it, and then you'll continue to learn how this stuff works as you go along.
And then someone asked, what was the other emotional drive besides outrage? It's sadness. Sadness is another emotional drive. So differentiate your claims. Basically, how will you be the purple cow? And maybe you guys can tell me, you're watching me right now rather than some guy in a suit. You're watching me in my like crop top hoodie and leggings and him wearing his backwards hat. Like, why are you watching us? You know, what makes us different than some guy in a suit who's probably giving similar information somewhere out in the world? You're watching us for a reason. What is it? What makes us different? And then you need to do that with your own brand. So number 3 is demonstrate the gain. What are they going to gain from ultimately choosing your product or doing whatever it is that you are, your desired action? How can you take them from a bad situation or an unideal situation and make it better? For example, if you're trying to get them to sign up for your email list, you could say, you could pay full price for this, or you could sign up for my email list, and on the purchase that you're about to make right now, you could save 30%, or you could save, $5. Put it into a context that they can understand. That's a way to show them what they could gain by doing what it is that you want them to do. So demonstrating a gain. Number 4, our last one, is deliver to the reptilian brain. We want to deliver to it. We want to appeal to those primal things, all those primal things that we just talked about. You want to appeal to those and deliver those desired things. The reptilian brain, at its core, what it does is it avoids pain and seeks pleasure. Those are the two things it does: avoiding pain, seeking pleasure. Everything that we do as human beings, all of those decision-making processes that we have are designed to either avoid pain or seek pleasure in every single thing that we do. So how do we appeal to either avoiding pain or seeking pleasure, or both? It's that simple. Every single ad needs to do that: avoid pain, seek pleasure. So we want to reward one of those emotions. Seeking pleasure, for example, when you figure out a puzzle, or if you're watching like a mystery, like, maybe like a murder mystery, and then you figure out who done it before anybody else, you start to get a little reward there. You're like, yeah, I was right, and you feel really good about it. So that is, where you've received pleasure from that interaction. So that is the basis of our 4 steps and our 6 stimuli. Ooh,
Careful.
don't want to close that out. There we go. So if you guys have any questions on these topics, feel free to let me know. Please just be aware that my frame of knowledge is based very much on the things that I have learned. So if I don't have an answer to something, I apologize, but I will do my best.
Let's see. How would we, excuse me, I'm sorry. How do we do all this with our shop into action? How do we put all this into their shop?
It's not necessarily your shop. What we are, you can incorporate some of these things into your shop.
This is more your marketing.
Right. This is for your marketing.
I think that's what they mean.
Yeah, this is for your social media. This is, and I can't tell you exactly how to do this, but I just gave you a lot of great examples of how other brands have done it. I can't tell you 100% for your products how to do this. This is going to take some deliberate focus on what you sell and what your objectives are, how you want people to feel about your brand, how you want them to associate emotions, and what emotions you want them to associate with your brand, and how you want to stick in their minds. So this all boils down to taking these concepts and abstractly applying them to visual marketing content, whether that be, cool marketing photos, cool marketing videos, or just the way that you speak in your ad copy.
Amber said, if people need to get a portrait from me because their dog may die and they'll not have anything to remember them by. Brutal but true. Yeah,
that's one. I think that Amber, for your products in particular, it's more of a it's almost like a selfish desire there, where that person, most people really like idolize their pets. They love their pets, and they want to it's almost just like a cool moment when you see like your pet on something. It just, it's a crazy, my pet is a star, and it's almost appealing to that. It's not like a something that they need, but it's something that really makes them feel warm and fuzzy inside. So let's see.
What's the name of the psychology book you mentioned? Predictably Irrational by Dan Ariely.
Yes.
Ariely.
Yes, Predictably Irrational. It's a really great book that will kind of talk about the decisions that we make that we don't have a lot of control over. And even after you read it, you're not going to be able to control them. You'll still catch yourself doing it. You'll just be more aware that they exist.
Well, telling them I'm autistic be good for marketing because it will feel good for supporting me when I market.
It could. I don't see it as being a bad thing as long as you do it in a positive way.
Yeah, for sure. Always keep that positive. And another thing too is the internet's a crappy place, so just be aware that like there's a potential you may make yourself a bit of a target.
Yeah,
So you're
that's a
like you'll publicly get some hate, but if you're good at ignoring that, then you'd probably be okay. Just be careful.
Yeah, that's the thing about vulnerability is no matter what, when you're vulnerable with your audience, unfortunately, there is the chance for that one butthead to say something mean, and I get that all the time. In fact, we actually the Friday being before last was one of our most watched videos for quite a while. It's been a very popular one. And here, can I get my knee off of here? You're spinning me all around.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
You done with this?
yeah, we can put that away. It was a really popular video, but one of the first comments on the video was, "What's that thing in your face?" So it didn't matter how intelligent I was or the content that I was teaching. The guy who left it was more concerned about the thing that's in my face. So it's one of those things where you just have to be able to, when you put yourself out there, you just have to be able to,
And if you can, have a friend curate.
darn it.
Have a friend curate literally every week.
I know, because it's Itty's medicine.
If you can have a friend curate your posts, just make sure everything's good. Anything you can do to prevent that intentional targeting, because again, people on the internet suck. So
Amber said, don't buy my stuff because I'm autistic.
yeah, no,
exactly.
don't do it. Don't do it like that. Like you.
Because that could get people.
I honestly don't put it in like product descriptions. I wouldn't even honestly put it directly in marketing. If I was like, if you want to put it in like a shop description or an about me,
I would say that it would be really, so someone who has, someone who has a really unique struggle. If you were to show a photo of you making your products and, just smiling and saying, hey, I have this, whatever it is, you could be missing an arm, you could be blind, you could be deaf. And you could say, hey, despite the fact that I have this problem, I am a badass business owner and look at what I'm accomplishing. You guys have no excuses because I am rocking it, You could do that with anything. So, silver lining on it.
Let's see. I'm not sure what problem I saw with greeting cards. Gifts, I guess, make people feel good when they give them.
Greeting cards are a huge problem solver. They
solve every problem.
They literally are the solution to a problem. Oh, I haven't called Grandma in forever.
Oh, here's a card, Grandma. Happy whatever birthday. Sorry I didn't make it to whatever.
Right. Oh, we're social distancing right now. I can send you a card. Oh,
literally anything. You can do anything with a card. Sorry I gave you VD.
Right. There's literally a card for everything. You can get a card for every single thing. I've seen a bunch of political stress cards. Oh, sorry that politics are stressing you out. Here's a card. All right.
Oh man, that's funny. Let's see.
What problem do I solve with flower jewelry? You have to think about your target customer. I can't answer that for you. Jewelry is a very intimate thing. People say, how do I solve the problem of jewelry? For me,
that's your first go-to problem.
For me, jewelry, like for example, you guys see me wearing this heart necklace a lot. I wear it because it was one of the first expensive things that Mark ever got me. It's the diamond, and it's actually bigger than the diamond in my engagement ring, because my engagement ring we bought when we were 18.
Yeah.
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 So it's the first like really expensive thing that he was able to buy for me, and I wear it um, because of it's memories. You know what I mean? It ties me back to, you know, he scraped and scraped and scraped and was able to. He had to pay it off on a payment plan, but he was able to get this for me, and it's special for that reason. So how does your jewelry? What is the emotion that's tied to it? You know, what is it that makes it special? How does the person feel when they're wearing it? What is making them feel complete? My jewelry that I make for my Etsy shop is very fantasy themed, you know, big key necklaces, and people kind of put their own meaning on those. You know, it can be a key to someone's heart. It can be a reminder to, you know, be in control. A lot of people use them as something they'll hold on to it, like they'll actually hold it and do like breathing exercises and things, you know, because it is just a symbol of something, whatever it is that they want it to represent. They kind of put their own meaning in it, but that's I used a very open symbol. A key can mean a lot of different things. For your flowers, you just have to think about what it is that you want to inspire and make it about that. I made my keys about, you know, self-expression. That's what I made them about. They didn't represent that. They didn't represent anything. They didn't represent magic. They were just keys, you know. I gave them that meaning. That was all me. And you have to be able to do the same thing for your jewelry. And it might take a while because when I first started making them, they were just keys that looked cool. But now they mean a whole lot more to a whole lot of people. All right.
And Kim, they're not, cards aren't just a guilt cover. Cards can be any emotion. That's what's so special about cards. And if you make that card, congratulations. That's funny, but I'm sure it'll sell. Um, and she
Let's
came
see.
back and said, I didn't crochet. What could I do there? Honestly, it's up to you to decide how you want to use that kind of marketing.
This
You
is a
can't really.
personal, this is a very intimate thing.
Yeah, it's very intimate, and without knowing you on that level, we can't
You
really give that kind of advice.
you have to pick your emotion. You have to choose what you want it to be. That's not something that we can do for you. You need to pick it and decide what you want it to be and how you want people to feel. And then um, you shape the problems around those things, you know? You have to decide what type of problem you want to solve and how you want to best tackle solving it by appealing to those emotions. This is a high level thing and it takes a lot of time. You know, it is a very time consuming process. Let's see.
We didn't have any other stuff.
So cards are a
Questions.
guilt cover.
I
Yeah,
just talked about
totally.
that.
Totally
I
are.
just talked about they're every emotion.
Yeah. Let's see. All right. Jewelry can be symbolic, huh? Oh, absolutely. Pick
Oh,
the
yeah.
symbolism. Choose.
It's a wedding ring.
Absolutely. Jewelry, I think, is some of the most symbolic. I think it was rooted in symbolism. You know, jewelry was an expression of power, of royalty,
Of wealth.
of wealth, of houses, you know, sigils. Everything had a representation. We still see that. Wedding rings, you know, even this necklace that I'm wearing now, I'm sure that you guys have lockets or something, an heirloom that grandma gave you. It's all symbolism. That's what jewelry is. It doesn't have a functional purpose.
Nope.
Unless it's something, you know, I mean, there are functional pieces like the chewing, you know, things.
Yeah,
for,
and then there are bracelets for heart conditions.
right. But when we're just talking about
like that,
normal, simple jewelry.
But actual jewelry, no, there's no real purpose.
Exactly.
And then you can talk about the medical ID bracelets
Yeah.
for people with whatever. Yeah. Unfortunately, I wouldn't go with my target market. They're family religious people, so someone else would have to do your card mark. Amber, I think it would be hilarious to have
That's
a
Kim.
cute puppy on a card. I know I'm talking to Amber now specifically. To have a cute puppy on the card with "Sorry I gave you VD" on it.
No,
that would be hilarious.
I did. I had a whole book of it was called Bad News with Baby Animals, and it was just postcards, but it had cute baby animals, and the very first card in it was grandma's dead, and it had like a little beagle puppy. So breaking bad news with baby animals, Google it. It's hilarious, and you can cut out the postcards and send
Well,
them.
if there are no last minute questions, we're almost 10 minutes over, so
All right, guys, let us know. I know that this topic was kind of all over the place, and I tend to talk a lot different when I'm going into something that's so in depth. Sometimes I worry that you guys aren't able to, I don't want to say able to follow, but I worry that I'm not expressing the information in a way that's understandable. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know. Be sure to like the video. That does help us, believe it or not. I know that it's one of those things that all YouTubers say to do, but it takes you guys 2 seconds, and we just spent an hour, hanging out with you guys and giving you information.
The
So
more people that get to see these videos, so first of all, the more people that like the video, the more people are going to see our
we get more
videos.
reach.
The more people that see our videos, the more questions that get pushed in, and the more things that you and I and her didn't think about during it, more things come into open discussion. And obviously we're 10 minutes over our live stream. It's not a big deal. So if there's stuff that maybe you want to brew on that we talked about here today, or if you have any questions that come up, think about it over the course of this week. Maybe write it down. That'd probably keep it next to your computer or wherever you watch these live streams. Pop us a question next week on it. It won't be it won't be a big deal if we pop up a question after we answer the current topics questions. That would be totally fine.
If you want us to answer it live, and if not, I do try to reply to questions on the videos. If it's like a video that's a year old, sometimes I won't answer questions. But
no, we get quite a few comments, so we don't do that. But if it's recent,
yeah, absolutely. And there are links down below. You guys can join the Handmade Alpha Facebook community. Mm-hmm. That's totally free. Just 3 questions that you got to answer to join when you send in your request to join on Facebook. But it's totally free to join. And then we've got our 7-step email series out right now. That is, if you are really stressed about the coronavirus, but you need to know exactly what you should be doing for your business, we've got some really great links and things that we send you every day. So feel free to sign up for that for free. Handmade Alpha Academy is opening June 14th, rain or shine. We have decided that we are going to be opening it. Handmade Alpha Academy is my online course. If you enjoy the more in-depth psychology aspect of marketing and you want to learn how to actually lay these little psychological triggers through your marketing and your shop, we actually have a 9-module course that I teach you how to do that step by step. Whether you have a shop when you start or not, we start from the ground up and we build your shop together with psychological triggers completely sprinkled into everything that you do, and we do everything with intention. So you can start that if you have an Etsy business already, or if you're thinking about starting one. That course is absolutely for you. The only people that we don't specifically cater to are vintage and one-of-a-kind sellers, though there's still valuable information in there.
And people with bad attitudes.
Oh yeah, well don't
you guys stay away.
Yeah, we don't like that.
And it's risk-free too. 30 days, money back. We don't ask any questions.
Absolutely.
At all.
And there's a waiting list down below for that. Feel free to join that waiting list. That does not mean that you have to buy it. It just means that you will be the first to know when the doors open on June 14th. Apparently there's a typo in there somewhere that I still haven't found, but it says something about it's December still. We only open twice a year, but it's for June, I promise. If you join, you're on the list. All right. I'm an Alvin. It's great. Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We will hopefully see you this upcoming Friday. And if you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to shoot them at the bottom of this video. All right, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Did I end it?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
There you go. Bye.
Bye.